I hope you're well. Had a good day myself. It was the day after Christmas. The world opened up again. I went to the gym. I donated plasma. I went to not one, but two coffee shops. I edited a bunch of videos, posted them online, grew my Coffee with Ken page quite nicely today, and that feels real good. My name's Ken Tracy, and I go live every morning on YouTube, usually talk for about an hour or so on my show called Coffee with Ken. If you are new here, please subscribe to my page. I have a lot of fun. I touch on a variety of subjects, my own spiritual journey, sobriety, financial highs and lows, the stock market, real estate. People always ask me, what do I talk about? And I talk about whatever comes to my mind. I didn't want to box myself in and make this a page about divorced dads or sobriety or mental health or faith or anything. I just want to talk about whatever I want to talk about on any given day. And I think for me, that's what makes my page fun and allows me the endurance to keep doing it day after day after day. And again, it grows every day. Over the last, about 3 months ago, I started reading the Old Testament, and I go live every night and read a couple chapters of it. Almost since day one, I've had moral issues with it and a lot of struggles while reading it. In my opinion, it's a very violent, dark book. And I'll say that, and a lot of people agree with me, notably Christians, and they'll go, yeah, it's because those people of Israel kept sinning, and they were really bad, and they never learned their lessons, and this and that, and they worship false idols. My issue isn't necessarily with the people of Israel, because I'll cut them some slack. It was an ancient time. It was well before the Dark Ages, and I'll cut the people some slack. The person that I won't cut slack, or I have a harder time cutting slack and can't just write it off as, oh, well, those were ancient times, they were barbaric times, is the way God is depicted in the Old Testament, in my opinion, is quite a barbaric individual. Without a doubt, when things, people don't do as he says, he kills them or he has them stoned. There was a gentleman in, I forget which book, but he was picking up sticks on a Sunday, so God had the people of Israel stone him. There is no doubt about that, and there is no doubt that through 5 books of the Old Testament, there's 2 main things that they hammer home. How you should properly offer things in terms of a burnt aroma, a burnt offering, a wave offering, various sacrifices you can make to God. And the other way is a very harsh, punitive system, harsh to the point that if a son yells at his parents, he's supposed to be stoned. Again, there was a dude picking up, in one of the books, he was picking up sticks on a Sunday, and God ordered him stoned to death for picking up sticks. So, but somebody asked if I'm salty about the Old Testament. No, I'm just reading it. I'm almost disappointed that I feel like I almost think either one or two things happened. Either nobody's read the Old Testament, and I think that's probably common. When I told people at my Christian church I was going to start reading the Bible, almost everybody told me to skip ahead and read the New Testament first. And I was confused. I want to read it cover to cover, and I'm going to. But either they haven't read it or they're ignoring the obvious. And I titled this live video, Did God Condone or Command Rape and Genocide in Deuteronomy? And I don't know, I've made some posts about this, and I made it on social media, I made it on Facebook, and suddenly I'm getting messages from all over. Somehow that post is starting to pick up some steam, and I'm having people say how wrong I am, how God doesn't say rape any women. And by the way, almost everyone acknowledges, and I don't know how you could deny, that there was massive genocide done by the people of Israel in the Old Testament. There's specific commands, and I'm going to read them to you because I'll let you be the judge. But there's no doubt there was genocide where God commanded the people of Israel to put every man, woman, and child to the sword, except in a few cases where he didn't put every man, woman, and child. He just put all the men to the sword. And the point of contention is whether, I guess, did God condone rape? And I'm going to read to you the two passages that I think clearly show God condoned rape in the Old Testament. And while he didn't actually use the word rape, I'd let you be the judge. And I don't know how in this world, and I get these were ancient times that we're talking about. So I'm judging the moral code with today's standards, but I'm not. Because I'm not judging the people. I'm judging what God commanded. And again, I'm going to read two parts of Deuteronomy chapter 20 and 21, and let you guys be the judge, because so many people are going, oh, where did you get that? He never says rape the women. Well, he doesn't, but he says shave their heads and then you go inside them. And if they're not pleasing to you, send them off. Or take the women as plunder to do as you please as spoils of war. Yes, he doesn't actually spell out rape, but without a doubt, that's what he says. And I'm going to read these two chapters for you. Do with it what you will. I'm not here. Again, I'm on a faith journey. I'm just amazed at how dark the Old Testament is. And I can't believe that it's not really spoken about. And that my pastor, frankly, is, carrying this Bible, and it's called the Holy Bible. And there's songs like The Same God, the God of David. And I just find the God in the Old Testament savage and evil and reprehensible. And I don't know how if you read it, you don't see that as well. But again, you believe whatever you want to believe, but I'm going to read you from chapter 20 and 21 in the book of Deuteronomy and let you be the judge. And again, chapter 20 is titled Laws Concerning Warfare. When you draw, and I'm not sure, should I read it straight through or should I throw a little interpretation of my own? I'll probably throw some interpretation because it's going to be hard for me not to. But again, I want you to be the judge, but I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. Again, chapter 20, Laws Concerning Warfare. When you draw near to a city, and this isn't a specific group of people that are, I think a lot of people of the Christian faith make excuses and say but these people are savages and this and that, and they sacrifice babies. This doesn't refer to those people. At the end of this passage, I'm going to read, and he says, well, don't even do this, slaughter everybody and these type of people. So I'm going to read it to you again, and bear with me. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, offer terms of peace to it. Sounds friendly. And if it responds to you peaceably, and it opens to you, then all the people who are found in it shall do forced labor for you and shall serve you. Okay. First of all, he's telling the people of Israel, come to a city, offer them a peace offering, and if they accept it, the people shall do forced labor for you and be your servants. So, that's not a great peace offering. Here's our peace offering. You're going to be our slaves. But anyway, I'll read on. But if it makes no peace with you, but makes war against you, and again, they've only been offered a peace offering that if they accept, they become slaves, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all its males to the sword. But the women and the little ones, the livestock and everything else in the city, all its spoil, you shall take as plunder for yourselves. And you shall enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you. Am I overstepping it by reading between the lines when in this passage it says the women are plunder and spoils, and you enjoy the spoils? I mean, I don't know what God's meaning. Everyone's telling me I'm misreading it. I don't know how referring to women as plunder and spoils that we are, or the Israelis are intended to enjoy, means anything other than sexually and rape. You know, I don't understand the argument, but I'll continue reading. Let's see. And you shall, and thus you shall do to all the cities that are far from you, which are not cities of the nations here, but in the cities of these people that the Lord your God is giving you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breaches, but you shall devote them to complete destruction. The Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded, that they may not teach you to do according to all their abominable practices that they have done for their gods, and so you sin against the Lord your God. So without a doubt, and again, I don't understand how anyone's debating the rape issue, but at least it doesn't specifically mention the word rape in the Bible. You shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall devote them to complete destruction. The Hittites, and again, it gives the names of the people that are devoted to complete destruction. You will save alive nothing that breathes. I don't know how you can't call that ethnic cleansing or genocide or whatever you want to call it. And to say that the Hittites or the Amorites or the Canaanites were bad people that did these bad things, again, they're putting to death every man, woman, and child amongst these people. I don't know how you can't call that genocide. But anyway, I'll let you, again, it's chapter 20 and 21 from the book of Deuteronomy. And in chapter 21, the title of this passage is Marrying Female Captives. And again, it's hard not to judge it from today's perspective, but if a boss flirts inappropriately with a woman beneath him, or a man, if it goes both ways, I guess, they get in a lot of trouble because it's an uneven power situation. This passage is dedicated towards marrying female captives, and I'll read it to you. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into the hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall take off the clothes in which she was captured, and shall remain in your house and lament her father and her mother a full month. Keep in mind, this woman isn't condoning marriage, accepting marriage, has no way to say no. You're shaving her head, cutting her nails, and throwing away her clothes. You are giving her a month to mourn her slaughtered mother and father. So I guess that's nice. After that month, you may go into her. Let me read it again. After that month, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And I had people messaging me saying, hey, go into her doesn't mean what you think it means. In Hebrew, that means something totally different. I don't know. I don't have a English to Hebrew translator, but if they're saying the man can go into his shaven head slave woman that he lives with, I'm assuming that means sexual. Am I wrong? I don't think so. But anyway, but if you no longer delight in her, again, after the man goes into the woman, who is a slave, a shaved head slave that he just slaughtered her whole family the previous month. But if you no longer delight in her, you shall let her go where she wants. You shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her. So again, I don't know. Whether, yes, God doesn't actually say go rape these women. He says take them as plunder, enjoy them as spoils of war. If you see a good-looking one, grab her, shave her head, let her mourn her parents for a month, and then you can go into her. And if you enjoy it, you keep her around. If you don't, you send her away because she's humiliated. So, again, I don't know. I don't know how anyone can debate that God commanded the people of Israel to ruthlessly slaughter whole civilizations. I don't think there's any debate. You can say those civilizations had it coming. But I don't know if you read chapter 20 and 21, if you're referring to women as plunder and spoils of war and to enjoy the spoils of war, or to the man can go into her, and if he no longer is delighted by her, to send her off humiliated. I don't understand how anyone can say that isn't God not only condoning, but commanding both genocide and rape in these times. And I'm not saying you should lose faith, but I'm saying the God of the Old Testament seems amazingly savage and brutal and vengeful, and very specific on how he wants the people of Israel to worship him. And it seems kind of funny. And as a aspiring Christian who's actually opening up the Bible and doing the heavy work of reading these words, to ignore them, I think would be irresponsible and silly. Because I think, and this isn't alone, an outlier. If you read cover to cover, you're going to find so many horrific things commanded by God of the people of Israel. And frankly, I don't get it, but I can't imagine in any way that women being plundered to enjoy the spoils of war doesn't mean having sex with them or raping them or whatever you want to call it. And I promise you, what is being described in these passages is in no way consensual sex. So anyway, I just want to hop on because I'm getting a whole heck of a lot of messages about this subject, and people saying, hey, he doesn't say rape, or it wasn't genocide, or these people had it coming, or just a bunch of weird excuses. And I almost think, I don't even know why. I don't even know why. I mean, I guess I know why, because so much of Christian faith anchors itself in the Ten Commandments and Adam and Eve and Abraham and the same God. But as a person on a journey, a faith journey, to me, and I pray every day, the God that is written about in the Old Testament, I don't think is the God that I'm praying to. And I'm going to leave you with that. But it confuses me. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox and preach to you, because you guys believe whatever the heck you want to believe. But there is so much brutality and savagery in the Old Testament that I wasn't aware was there. And I'm getting a ton of messages of people that are saying there was no genocide. Yes, there was. What do you mean? What do you mean? He says, kill everything that's breathing. You know? These people aren't attacking Israel. Israel is attacking these people. These people are living in their cities, doing whatever it is they do. And Israel's coming in, offering them a peace offering, where if they accept it, they become Israel's slaves. And if they don't, all hell's going to break loose. And I don't understand how anyone could say otherwise. And again, I would encourage you to do your own research. And I don't mean go on YouTube and have somebody else tell you. I'm saying pick up the Old Testament and read it. And let me know what you think. I think we're so busy. Everyone's telling me, oh, go ask your pastor. Let him explain it to you. You know, I'm a human being. I can read. You can understand. If I'm misinterpreting it, I'm shocked. I don't think I am. But I appreciate you hopping on tonight. Jim Rat says, what is the reason, though? Real question from a guy that doesn't know why the Old Testament voided when Jesus was born. The Old Testament was voided when Jesus was born? I don't know. Somebody else is saying the Old Testament was not voided. Either way, the God of the Old Testament, I mean, I'm 160 pages in, there's very little talk of love or compassion or kindness or forgiveness through the first 5 books. It's about stoning people and what you can't do and what to do with, you know, I'm honestly, I kind of feel it's been a really yucky read for me so far, and I'm going to keep reading it. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. These are my thoughts, and I just wanted to share them with you because I'm getting a whole bunch of messages from people I don't know telling me how there's no rape or genocide commanded. Yes, they don't use the word rape in here. But I don't know, they take women as plunder and are supposed to enjoy them as spoils of war. I'm telling you. Sounds to me like they're giving the soldiers the green light to do whatever they want with the people that the women that they take. And that's my interpretation. Let's see, the God of, somebody's, you have a hard time to accept God as he is, seems. I don't know if you're talking to me. I don't know if you're talking to me. If you're saying, do I have a hard time accepting the God in the Old Testament? Yeah, absolutely. These aren't God's words. These weren't written by God, and they weren't written by Jesus. This might be just they weren't. These aren't words that were written by God or Jesus. So part of me wonders why we consider at least the Old Testament such holy words, such perfect scripture, when at some point a human being filled with sin, like we all are, actually put these words, put pen to paper. You know, these aren't words that came down from God and fell onto paper. They're words written by a man, and that man wasn't Jesus. It was a man who's flawed and filled with sin, as we all are. So anyway, I would encourage you to make your own judgment. But again, as a guy reading it for the first time, I'm somewhere between shocked and bothered and disappointed, or surprised, at least, by the words and the darkness that is in the Old Testament. But I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm going to read 2 chapters of Deuteronomy in a little bit, but I just wanted to hop on and answer some questions. I appreciate you guys for hopping on and following along in my little journey. I think if you don't ask questions, you're not paying attention or you're not actually reading it. And I think even if I'm wrong, God approves of my inquisitive mind that wants to know what's behind this and doesn't want me confused, wants me to challenge these words and challenge them in front of you. So again, I want to thank you for joining. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. You are feeling good. You are loving yourself. You are forgiving yourself because God loves you and you are forgiven. And as always, I hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.